about to go put that chipper to use for the first time. And I've got that hill that I cut down those trees from, probably been a couple weeks ago now. I'm going to take that chipper there, and then I may be weed eating for them again, and also cutting some more trees up there, bigger trees, and maybe doing some splitting and some other stuff. But planning to do that, at least take that chipper and chip all those up. But right now I'm about to go put it to use for the first time. Got a junk removal job to do, so we're heading there now. It's in Powell County, it's not too far away. Been getting quite a bit of work, and I thank God for that. Thank God for being blessed with such good Firewood customers. I had one the other day. She's a real good customer. She's the one that gave us that swing set, and she paid me $300 because I send out, every now and then I'll send out messages, and I'll do like a group thing and send it out to all my customers. And I have 96 Firewood customers saved in my phone, and then every year I usually get more. I had sent out a message, you know, telling them all that, hey, I've got firewood for sale if you want to stock up for the winter. And she was one of them that messaged me back, and she came and paid me for a full cord of wood and doesn't even want the wood right now. She said that she wants it, it'll be a while before she wants it, maybe like 45 days, I think she said, and went ahead and paid me. And she said, I want to support you. So, I mean, that was just so kind of her. To come across customers like that, it's truly a blessing. So me and my family truly appreciate her, and anyone like her, you know. I've met so many kind people. I really have, and I'm very thankful for that. But we're going now. I'm gonna put this chipper to the test. I got the old clone saw back there because I got some wood to, it looked like a lot of what we're gonna be doing is clearing up brush and stuff. But anyways, that's what we're doing right now. We're going, I got my trailer behind me, got the chipper on it, and we're going to clean up some brush. I seen it looked like an elliptical machine, and also a dishwasher, and she said a gutter and some other stuff. So there'll be a little bit of scrap metal to pile up. And then the job itself, I bid for $300. So that's what we're going to do now. I've got another full cord to do Friday from a customer I've had for a while. He's a real good customer as well. I used to go sledding on that hill right there when I was a little boy. Right there, yeah, it was real fun. Me and my brother and some other members of the family. All right, so earlier I said this job was in Powell County. It was actually in Montgomery County. I was wrong, which is the county that I live in. And it was actually in Jeffersonville, the city that I live in. So, I did not even know we had a lake in Jeffersonville, but it was beautiful, a beautiful lake out in the middle of the woods. And I guess that's why I didn't know it. But here I am using this chipper for the first time. And here in a little bit, I think you'll see how that I put the text, how that this thing scared me at first, and it did. I've heard some horror stories about chippers, you know, especially the bigger ones. This ain't anything like those real big ones that you see tree services have, you know, that they pull behind trucks and everything. There's a guy that I used to get wood from, and I still recommend jobs to him sometimes if it's jobs I'm too nervous to do. Like a woman recently asked me if I had a bucket truck, and so I recommended him to her. So if it's stuff I can't do, I'll recommend him. But I used to get wood from him. And he had one of those big chippers, and they're really dangerous. They can be, but anyways, this one's pretty safe. But you still got to be cautious. I memean, you've got very fast turning blades down in there. I was watching a video, kind of getting an idea of these chippers and how they worked and everything. And the guy had a hoodie on with these strings, and he was getting really close to strings. If it pulls the string in, it will pull you in, or as close as it can get you anyways. I mean, I don't know if your arm can fit down in that thing, but if it can, it will pull it in. So definitely something to be aware of, you know, when you're using something like that. But as you can see here, absolutely beautiful location. Now, because I was so scared of that chipper, this was my first time using it. This job turned out to be a lot bigger than it had to be for me. A lot of these, I ended up taking 2 trailer loads of sticks, and some were trees out of here. Some are actually good white oak that I'm going to buck up with that clone saw and store up for the winter, Lord willing. But there were a lot of branches that I could have chipped. But like I said, that was my first time ever using it. This is a first time customer, and I just said, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and load this stuff. But there was a lot more than I realized. I mean, they had quite a bit of limbs up in the front and then around back of their home. a tree service to come in and cut some stuff up. And I've actually got another job that I'm supposed to go do for her later, cutting up a huge oak. May need a 28-inch bar. I don't know for sure, which I've never had, but I want to increase my equipment as much as I can. You know, I love having my own business, and something I've learned over the years, because I used to have a lot more equipment when I did landscaping and stuff, you know, and then I got in a truck and sold a lot of my stuff, but I used to have quite a bit of equipment at one time. Nothing real expensive like bobcats and stuff like that, but stuff that made me money, you know. A hedge trimmer alone, a gas-powered hedge trimmer can make you quite a bit of money. So that chipper, you know, and that is something that I look at as an investment, and it has impressed me, actually. I at this point, I was a little disappointed at this point in the video because I didn't use it a whole lot, and I just wasn't sure what it would do. I was just so scared to really kind of put stuff in it that I didn't really get to see its potential. But later on in this video, you'll see me go to that hillside where I killed a copperhead, and I cut down probably around 200 of these little trees. And I go and take that chipper there, and I chip up those trees for the man and do some more stuff for him as well. And through that, you know, he lives right next door to my mom and the man that she's with, Bobby. And through that, I've got some more white oak to get. They had a big one come down in the yard, and I think he's already bucked a lot of it up. Some of it isn't bucked up as well, but I'm looking forward to using my saw on that. And then they've got a huge one, they're saying, right down the road from there that can be bucked up and split. So not only will that be good footage, but it'll be good for me to keep putting that saw to the test. This is kind of funny right here. Carter was chugging that on purpose, and I was telling him how that he was like his neck was popping out like a frog. But anyways, there's the one trailer load I got 2 trailer loads like this. They also had a little bit of metal. As you can see, there's some good rounds of white oak there. There's lots of big branches of white oak as well.
Okay, guys, so today I'm going to be showing you the cool bug called the weevil. They're a type of species of beetle. They're a type of beetle. I think this one is a root weevil. They're not harmful to humans, but they are harmful to plants, only the babies, not the grown-ups. And also, they cannot bite.
They don't bite, so you can hold them.
Weevils have
It's a weevil type of beetle, right?
Yep.
Hold on, it's not.
Weevils have mouths that look like little snouts. And they're very cool beetles. And I want to show you one on my hand.
Alright, let's see it on the hand. Let's see it up close. Keep it very still.
They're types of beetles.
All right, so here we are after that job is done. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking that white oak to Bob, the man that I did the hill for, the hillside where the copperhead was at. This is his place here, and I stacked it on top of some wood that he already had. And that was another job that I had, actually, was getting rid of a lot of his rotten wood, because some of it had been there 10 years, he said. So I brought him some of that white oak and stacked that for him. And then here I am on that hillside using the chipper. Now, as I said, I'm very happy with this chipper now at this point. Every one of those trees on that hill, just about every one of them, except for maybe a few that I missed here and there, I chipped up. And there were some that were pretty big. And somebody told me a lot of those they thought were sumac or something, and that may be true. But there were also some maples and something else, and maybe some gum trees that were growing there. And yeah, it took care of them, no problem. And now I'm going to try to clarify in this way. If I wouldn't have chipped this, the other option was hauling it off like I did those other 2 loads for that other customer. And I probably would have, I'd already hauled off 1 trailer load at this point. I probably would have hauled off another 6 trailer loads at least. That's how much work that this chipper saved me. And you can see how fine it gets the chips. And that stuff is great to use for gardens from what I hear. It helps your gardens retain moisture. It helps keep the weeds out, from what I understand. And it also has nutrients for your garden. So, you know, I actually got an idea. I've seen guys use bags for bundles. And I thought about getting some of those bags and start, you know, chipping this stuff up and selling the chips. I'm always trying to think of ways to make more profit. And when you're running your own business, I think that's kind of something that comes natural, because you've got to maintain everything. You know, you're paying the bills, you're maintaining the equipment, you're maintaining the vehicles. All that's on you, you know. I've worked for people and I've worked for myself, and I know how important it is. For me, not having a lot of money over the years, I've learned to work on stuff myself. There's no telling how many times I've laid out underneath the lawnmower, laid out underneath a truck, a car, a van, worked on a chainsaw, on a weed eater, whatever it is, a hedge trimmer, backpack blower. And I'll tell you where I've got a lot of my knowledge from, like many others nowadays, is YouTube. Used to be, if you didn't have a man that would teach you stuff, like your uncle, your dad, or somebody, then you were either out there just trying to figure it out yourself, and you can learn like that. I think one of the best ways to learn is going out and experiencing things. I've learned a lot from making mistakes over the years. I have, a whole lot. But like I said, something I've learned from not having a lot of money is how to work on things myself. I've kind of become my own plumber. I've kind of become my own, I guess you could say, carpenter. My own landscaper. Whatever I need, pretty much I do myself. My own mechanic. My own small engine mechanic. Whatever, that I need fixed, usually I do it myself. Unless it's something that I'm uncomfortable with, like certain tree work even. There was a huge tree here at home that was leaning towards our home, and I hired Chris, the guy that runs a tree service, to cut that down for me. But most of the time, I've a lot of things I'm self-taught, but then, like I said, I've learned a lot from YouTube. How I learned how to swing an axe was from YouTube, watching bucking. That's how I also learned how to sharpen a chainsaw and use a chainsaw for the most part. And I've still got a lot to learn in many things, but I've learned a lot from that. My dad didn't teach me many things growing up, honestly. My papa was more of that kind of figure that would teach me stuff. Dad never really did that kind of stuff. And part of the reason why is because he didn't really know a whole lot, I don't think. He just didn't seem interested in learning lots of things. He was a good roofer. That was the main thing that Dad did, was roofing. But I'm interested in learning anything, anything and everything that is helpful. I've got some family members that are like handymen, and they can do, my papa's kind of like that. They can fix just about anything, or lots of things anyways. I won't say just about anything, but lots of things they can fix. They can build their own things, they can do their own mechanic. That's how I want to be, and that's how I've kind of become over the years, though I'm far from being on the level that some of them are, But I do believe with time, I'll continue to learn, and I want to pass those on to my children. Like Carter, the way that I'm doing with him now, I've been doing for years, and me and Dad never did that, so it's different. I wish we would have, but we didn't. But my papa had me on a riding mower when I was about 9 years old, something like that. And he would stand out there and just kind of show me where. He would literally stand there with me the whole time while I was mowing. And once I got to the end where I needed to turn, he would show me where to turn, and he would watch me the whole time. But he got me started early in lots of things, and he did that with my uncle and my dad as well. But my dad, as I said, didn't seem to be interested in learning as many other things. But they used to do lots of different things too. My papa farmed, he did construction, he did roofing, he was very good at many things, mechanics, whatever. So that my point is, I want to learn as much valuable information as I can, and YouTube is a great tool for it. We have access to a wealth of knowledge now that they didn't have back then. That I didn't have back then when I was younger, even a teenager. Maybe YouTube was around at that point, I don't know. But if it was, it wasn't real popular, I don't think. I don't even know if it was around. But if it was, I don't think I knew about it. But my point is, yes, I want to learn as much as I can. And I have over the years. When you're running your own business, you will learn things if you stick with it. Lots of small businesses fail, I think, within 2 to 3 years. And, I've done it more than once. I've done my own business for, I think, at 5 years at one point, and then went back into working for a while for, as they say, working for the man is how some people say it. And then I've kind of come back to working for myself again. And that's what I always want to do, honestly. And somebody had kind of commented the other day, and I'm using their comment to make a point, though I didn't like their comment at all. But they were kind of commenting in a way that's saying that the way that Carter was working with me, I was forcing labor upon him, and it was bad for his mental health and stuff, I completely disagree with that entirely. I believe many people wouldn't agree with that. But the reason why I'm even bringing that up is because me and Carter talk about many different opportunities, I want Carter to choose his own path. But I have told him many times, I said, if you want to continue working with me, when you get older and us work together, you're more than welcome to do that. But I said, if not, I would love for you to get into some sort of trade, whether that's plumbing or construction or tree work, whatever that may be, something that's always going to be in high demand. That takes a pretty good level of skill to do, because you can make good money doing that. It's always going to be in high demand, and you can go and be your own boss in that as well. You can go and start your own business in that. You can get into plumbing and work for somebody else for a while, and then once you get comfortable and learn it, you can go out and plumb yourself. You can do HVAC. You can be an electrician. There's lots of things, out there, the trades that are, they're good, honest work. They're needed. They're in high demand, and they likely always will be, and they pay good, and they give you the opportunity to go out and do those things for yourself, Like with lawn care, I started out in that. That's something that will always be needed. I had lots of people telling me when I first started doing lawn care, too many people do that. You see too many people pulling mowers. Too many people do that. So my neighbor told me, he said, I hope you ain't trying to do that around here. There's a guy that's been doing that since I was a little boy. Well, the reason why you see lots of people doing that is because there's a high demand for it. So don't let people tell you that kind of stuff. It ain't easy running a business. I'll tell you that right now. I've done it for years, and it can be very hard. It can be very discouraging at times. Something I've learned the hard way over the years is you got to not just get by, but you've got to save money too for your equipment stuff for when it goes down, because it will happen. And the more that you can learn, how to work on your own equipment, the more that will help you, the better off you'll be. But there's a lot to it. I don't think lots of people will want to do it if they get into it and really go through those times, But to me, there's nothing better than having your own business, really, as far as work goes. You can't beat it. And I don't ever plan to go, permanently back to working for anyone else. Even when I got into trucking, my intention was never to stay working for a company, And I'm very glad I did that. I'm so much better at backing big trailers now than I was. I use my mirrors a lot more now. Used to, I didn't hardly use my mirrors. I kind of just looked over my shoulder when I was backing trailers, because I'd backed trailers for years at that point already. There's Carter's little knife that he's showing. He started trying to get into wood carving. Speaking of that, I was watching a video earlier of Brian Two Bears, and he got a deputy handle, and that's a very nice looking handle. I watched this whole video, and looks a lot like the sheriff handle, but a little shorter, and I plan to get Carter one of those as well. But it looked like a great handle. He did a good video on it. I've always liked Brian. He's a very humble man, and I really like axes and watching certain axe content, so I always enjoyed watching him. Bob back there, you can read by that. He's about to be 93 years old and created a chip for NASA. I'm kind of talking everything I just wrote there. But anyways, and yeah, I've worked for him for quite a few years. And what I was telling him there was it looked like a storm was coming in. And he has a hard time even getting around now. He's 93 years old, and he's been having a lot of problems lately. But I did quite a bit of work for him here. This is his place. He owns a place in Florida, and then he owns his place in Kentucky. And when he comes back to Kentucky, he talks about how peaceful it is here, in Kentucky. But I kind of showed him my saw, and I showed him the log ox too. Right there, he was trying to just lean on the mower. He's just having trouble standing. So like I said, 93, that's getting up there, and I feel for him, when I look at him and see that. I think that's when you're really, if you got somebody that's elderly, or somebody that's elderly, that's when we need to be there for them the most, is when they're needing help like that at that age. He recently fell down the steps at his home, and it knocked him unconscious, and thank goodness his son was there. But even if you got neighbors or something like that, I think it'd be good to go and check on them, and try to help them out. Once they get to that age, you can tell they just struggle to even get around. There I am showing my hands. It tore my hands to pieces, because a lot of that hillside where I was getting those trees had thorns in it as well. So.
You're not allowed to eat anything hard for 2 hours.
There's Marcy Lynn.
Now, guess what? This kind of makes me a bit sad. I can't eat chicken nuggets till 2 hours.
Said anything sticky or...
But I hope you're all doing well. This video is probably 3 or 4 different jobs compiled together. And I just haven't been posting them as much lately, honestly, because this heat, part of it, I guess, is just I've not really felt like doing it. This heat has not made it easy to want to do more than just try to get the job done. This summer has been a hot one, a very hot one. And in Kentucky, it gets very humid as well. And I think a big part of that is how much water we've got here in Kentucky. But I hope you've all been doing well and everything, and hope you're encouraged, and I'd like to encourage you. I'd like to be an encouragement to other people. I get discouraged myself, like anyone else, but your all's comments encourage me and stuff like that. And reading the Word of God encourages me and helps me a whole lot. I found that it's easy to lose our hunger if we're not careful, for righteousness. And I want to stay hungry. The Bible said, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. So and reading the Word of God really helps a whole lot. But there I was splitting a little bit. This is another trailer load that we got from that place. And here we are just about to unload it. I was thinking about that scripture earlier too. I read it actually about where Jesus was telling him, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross daily. And I thought about that daily part. It's something we've got to do continually. Each and every day, we've got to take up our cross, crucify the flesh, deny what that flesh wants. Like the Bible said, if you walk in the Spirit, you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. And I've felt the difference in my life when I'm walking in the flesh and walking after the Spirit. There is a huge difference. And I've felt, when I'm close to God, I felt the difference when I'm close to Him, and I felt the difference when I'm far from Him. And when we're close to God, the Bible said if we draw nigh to God, He'll draw nigh to us. That's when we can really be a help to other people and really shine a light to them like He wants us to. But we can also separate ourselves from God with our sin. As the Bible said, your sin has separated you from your God. And you can see the results of that in your life, and you can see the results of it in other people's lives. Some people talk about, you don't know me and you don't know anything about me and stuff like that. But one thing that Jesus told us in the Bible, He said, you'll know a tree by the fruit that it bears. He said, a good tree cannot bear evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bear good fruit. Therefore, you shall know them by their fruit. So sometimes you can know a lot more about people than they realize. The Word of God is a discerner of the very thoughts and intents of the heart. And when you study that Word of God and you come to the knowledge of the truth, Jesus many times He spoke about those that have eyes to see, let them see. Those that have ears to hear, let them hear. You understand in a way that maybe some people don't understand, but it's for whosoever will. God's no respecter of persons. But in order to gain knowledge, we have to seek it. If you seek, you shall find. So another full quart just now. 300 Simoleons right there. So this guy's a good customer too, real good customer. Got that chipper in the back still. We've been doing quite a bit of work here recently, and that's part of why I haven't been uploading videos, honestly. We're heading on now. He lives in a beautiful location. It's a little drive away. It's Flemingsburg is where it's at. I keep thinking Bath County, but it's right past Bath County, and they look similar. But it is Flemingsburg. Beautiful location here. I've delivered to him before in the videos, and even bucked up and split up a white oak for him. Done some other work. He's a real friendly guy. Him and his wife both, and they just had a kid recently, he said. So, but anyways, we're heading home now. Like I said, I've been very busy lately with different things, and I'm thankful for that. Very thankful for the work. So we've been doing junk removal. We've been removing trees and brush, and just did a big job the other day at a lake. It'll be in this video, Lord willing, where we removed 2 trailer loads of brush and quite a bit of stuff I can use for wood. And let's see, Monday I've got a big oak tree to go and cut up, and I'm getting that for the wood, so that's going to make a lot of wood. And then they've got another one down that they said I'm welcome to have that one as well if I want it. And that chipper's been great. I'm very happy with that chipper. I know they have different models and they have different price ranges and stuff. And that one that I got, it's around $700 new. And I'm very happy with it. It does really good. I was putting probably 3-inch pieces of, trees in it, 2 to 3 inch round trees. And it did them no problem. I never stopped it completely at all. But it did slow it down, which is normal for those chippers. But I chipped probably around 200 trees, I would say, around that I cut down from that hill. So I'm very happy with it. It's a good investment. Anytime you can get more equipment for your business, it's good, And I'll tell you another thing I'm doing now, and I'm wanting to expand in that, very interested in it. Just come to my mind recently. Carter said he mentioned it to me, but I didn't remember him mentioning it. But I'm wanting to start doing like equipment rental on the side, passive income. And the more equipment you accumulate, the more you can rent out. But I know that there's maintenance and risks that you're taking with that. So there's contracts and stuff. I was looking into it online that you can get people to sign, you know, before they rent your equipment, to help you, you know. But I've got that log splitter from Steve now, and that would be great, you know, in the winter. If somebody, rather than going out and buying a splitter for thousands of dollars, they could rent that one for, I've got it for, I think, 80 a day or 100 a day, something like that. I think I put 80 a day, and then 3 days, $200, 5 days, $300, and anything in between that is just 80 per day. So like they get 2 days, 160 bucks. But if you rent a log splitter for a full day, $80, you can get a lot of work done with a log splitter in a day. You can. So for some people that'd be beneficial, you know, and it would be on me to maintain the equipment stuff. That chipper back there, I can rent that out. Chainsaws, I used to rent chainsaws out and pressure washers when I first started out. And there's still equipment that I would rent out now if I needed it, you know, if it was worth it to me, to where I'm making profit on the job, you know, because you can rent out all kinds of different things. I used to rent out big steel pressure washers, and I would kind of figure that into my price, you know, my bid. So I can get pressure washer, because that's equipment I can use anyways, you know. I can get quite a bit of pressure washers, chainsaws, weed eaters, mowers, zero turns, whatever, and rent that stuff out while working on top of it, you know. So I think like that a lot, and that's a good form of passive income. So I've already got the log splitter and the chipper. I've got even trailers I thought about, you know. My trailer, I could rent that out. Other trailers, because I've had a lot of trailers. I've had quite a bit of trailers, a lot that y'all have never seen on here. I actually like pulling trailers a lot. Something I would like to do is upgrade to a heavier duty truck that has a brake controller on it and stuff for a trailer, you know. So I'm thinking about things like that a lot, you know. I'm 33 years old. I've got quite a bit of time to grow my business, but I do want to do that, you know. And I've got lots of other things in mind, but I'm kind of just sharing it with y'all, even though, you know, I don't have to, but I like talking to a lot of y'all, and I don't talk to a whole lot of people. The customers I do a lot. Like that guy there, he's a real good customer, real friendly guy, always has been. And I've done quite a bit of different work for him. He actually asked me just now, he said, I've got some wire, old wire fence. He said, do you still take scrap metal? And I said, yeah. And so I loaded it on the trailer. I do stuff like that quite a bit. If I can pick up stuff like that extra, you know, I'll pile it up at home, and then when I get a bunch, I'll take it to a scrap yard. Actually, the job we did at that lake, I got quite a bit of scrap, and then they've still got a washer and dryer unit and something else that they want me to get. So, but I charge for it. Normally him, I didn't there, because obviously that's just a little bit of fencing, and he's a good customer, and it's not a lot anyway. So it just, you know, something I can pile up and get extra income from. So it helps me and him. But usually, you know, if I go out and do a junk removal, I'll charge for that, of course. I've done it for him before, and he's a real friendly guy. But anyways, we're heading home now. I think actually we're probably going to the dollar store, one of my favorite stores. My wife is supposed to send me a list, and through my phone, and I'm gonna go in and get that, Lord willing, and bring it home. But man, this summer has been a rough one for those that are outside in the weather. I'm sure you all could probably say the same thing. Here in Kentucky, we got a high humidity too. Kentucky's got more bodies of running water than any other state in the United States except for Alaska. Therefore, you know, you put water and heat together, that's high humidity. So we've got a very high humidity. I mean, it just sucks the moisture out of you when you go outside. I changed my shirt twice the day before I came and done this. The white shirts, I soaked 2 of them. My pants I soaked, you know, so that's why I like those thin pants that kind of dry out quicker. I like those anyways, because those thick ones are just, even though they're good in the winter and they're good for like thorns, they're hot. That's why I don't hardly wear gloves, you know. My hands are cut to pieces right now from doing that job where there were so many thorns there. That's a point where I will wear gloves, is whenever it's thorns or sharp metal, something like that, you know. But lots of the times I won't wear gloves if it's just cold or something like that. Anyways, we're heading on home now. We're gonna get something to eat and drink and relax, and I'll probably edit this video. Hope y'all are doing well. You all be safe out there, and God bless.